Hey everyone, welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa. If you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. The neighbours are at their properties, the dogs are making noise, which is always fun. I have no idea what this video will cover, but there's a few things I need to do to continue on from the previous video, so I'm just going to film them and we will see where it goes. First thing I need to do today is finish the black beans. So yesterday on the previous video, I soaked my black beans for just under 24 hours. Managed to cover myself in bean juice. So I've given these a really thorough, so originally they were sort of about this much, they've soaked for 24 hours and I've given them a really thorough rinse. Now, the guidelines for canning dried beans would have me put these in a pot and simmer them for 30 minutes before canning them, but I don't like the texture when you do it that way. I find that they end up too mushy. So 24 hours and a really, really thorough rinse till the water runs clear is what I do for my beans, and it just means that I leave a little extra space in my jars. So if I boiled these would be at maximum size, and you could fill the jar all the way up, put your water in it, and know that they're not going to expand any further. Because I haven't done that last 30-minute simmer in these have the potential to expand just a little bit more. So we will only fill them to, say, the 600ml line and then top them up with water, and that will give room for that last little, plump up. I was going to can them in smaller jars because we tend to use a smaller amount per meal, but I can't find enough wide mouth pint jars, so we're just going to do them in quarts for the moment, and I might have to order myself some wide mouth pint jars as well. So we're just going to do these. I've got 4 jars here for the moment. I'm not sure how many I'm going to need, but I will grab some more if I need it. And all I'm going to do is pop the beans in the jars. So we've got 2.5-ish cups, I think is around about what I normally do, which brings us just slightly above that, sort of at the 2/3 line, at that 600 mil mark. So about 2.5 cups worth of those soaked beans per jar, I find is a good ratio for me. About 2/3 full. So you're going to need a few more jars by the looks of it. So 2 kilos of beans actually makes a fair few jars. I was a bit concerned about doing only 2 kilos of beans, that it would feel like a smallish batch, but they expand. They make a lot. So Sonnet is my black bean lover. She really enjoys black beans, but there's a few salads that I want to try too, because I'm going to have to pack lunches for myself now. So I'd really like to try like the crispy rice salad that's around that has beans in it as well. So having them on the shelf will be great. I could just buy some tins, but I already had the dry beans, so I'm going to go grab myself some more jars. All right, so 2 kilos did 8 jars. So now we're going to top them up with water to the shoulder, just like that. You can, of course, use whatever liquid you want. You could use a stock if you wanted. You can season these if you want. I like to do them plain because then it gives me an option to do whatever it is that I want with them after that. So I find that doing them plain is better. So I will add just a tiny teaspoon of salt, though, to each of these jars. All right, I added a pinch of salt, and now we're just going to quickly debubble them. So we're just going to stir things up gently so that the water settles in between the beans to make sure that we've got enough liquid in here. Sometimes the liquid level will drop because you are debubbling and getting rid of any air pockets. It shouldn't be such a big issue with these beans because they were already wet, so the water should just sort of have flowed into all the gaps. But sometimes it's more an issue if you've got things that aren't already wet and they hold and the liquid doesn't go in between. So I'll just top these all up to the necks, and then we will get some vinegar and give the rims a clean. Got a bit of white vinegar and a clean cloth, and I'm just going to check the rims and clean them before I put lids on them so there's nothing to interfere with the seals. Now 8 jars will not fit in my Presto, only 7 fits in the Presto, but I'm pretty sure that I can fit 8 in the Buffalo. So I will have to use that. I've got some brand new ball lids that I hadn't opened yet. So Now, I don't heat my lids. The new guidelines state that you don't have to, but if you feel more comfortable doing so, then feel free. I don't find it necessary, so I'm just going to put new lids on every jar, a ring fingertip tight, and then we will get them in the canner. Now the jars are cold, so we're going to start the canner off cold as well, and then we will pressure can these. I'm going to double check my timings because I don't do beans very often, and before I get them started, but can't remember whether it's 75 or 90. I will double check. And we will get these up to pressure, start the timer, and then we will have these for the shelf. Alright, so the black beans are on, they have come up, they're coming up to pressure, and then it'll be 90 minutes for quarts of them. The other thing I need to do is lunch of some sort. I have that pizza dough for dinner tonight, but I did have an extra kilo of chicken breast that I had defrosted, and I had this excess seafood mayo with the Worcestershire and stuff in it. So what I've done is I've just filleted it and put it in the mayo, and then I had some extra panko crumbs sitting on the shelf, so I've just crumbed that. I'm just going to fry this off. This can be used for lunch today, or it could be used to then slice up and put on with the pizzas. I don't know yet, but it needed to be cooked, so I'm cooking that. Black beans, processed for 90 minutes. I've just pulled them out of the canner to sit overnight for 24 hours, which is also an important part of the canning process. This is the cracker crumb pizza crust that I put in the fridge 24 hours ago. So I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to split it into 4, and I'm going to let it come up to room temperature. So that it's able to be rolled out. So I'm just going to roughly put it in 4 and into a circle like that to make it easier to roll out nice and thin. Put some oil on it and wrap it in this dough mat just to warm up a bit before I try rolling it out. I'm also going to pull some potato gems out, and I actually thought I might try doing them. There's a thing that I've seen going around where you cook them and then you smash them and put them back in, and they're even crunchier, and you can serve them with like a salad dressing, almost like a potato salad. So I'm going to attempt to do that as well. It's already relaxed a whole lot, just it's hot. Now my big thing is though that a lot of them that I saw did them in a standard oven. Now I'm cooking the potato and stuff in the oven, so I can't do it in the oven. So I'm going to use one of the pizza ovens, but the pizza ovens are quite small, and this is like the same amount of dough that I would use in a standard one, except that normally I don't stretch them out very much. Like they end up being small-ish. So I'm thinking that this is probably going to be too much dough for one pizza if I roll it out cracker crust thin. So I'm thinking that I need to shave these down. So they're about 250 grams each. We probably only need the 150 because I've been doing the normal ones at 200. So let me try taking, say, a third off there and take this back together. So 185 grams goes into around about the 28 centimeter circle, which will probably be quite fine. So that's what I'll work on for scaling next time. So we'll get 5 out of this one. As I said, I've got all the potato in the oven for the kids to share some anyway. And we will just see how it goes. Super simple: pizza sauce, some cheese, and some of the expensive salami that we buy that's really tasty, just torn up over the top because we want to keep the toppings minimal. Now, if I had thought about it, I would have defrosted some of the pork sausage that I froze, because that would have been nice on it as well. But we're just going this as like a lesser meal and more aside to other things, and we're going to see how it goes. The potato jams, put a little bit of cheese on them, stuck them back in the oven, and then we've got gravy. So we're going to have these, and the kids have got some chips as well, and I'll show you the last pizza when it comes out. Super simple, but I don't know if I'm sold on the cracker base. We will. I haven't tasted it yet. I've only seen it, so we will see. Yep, this is how they turn out. Probably not quite as cracker as the theory was. This one's a bit more. It took a bit of playing with getting the temperature right to get the base sort of more cracker style. We still haven't got a whole lot of colour on the base, which I'm not real sure whether it needs to go higher or not. Less topping.
Less topping.
But
half the topping.
So a bit less topping because of the thin base and that, but it's worked out pretty well. Like it's still holding its own. It's still crispy on the bottom, so
I definitely shouldn't eat this.
It was worth a try anyway. Hey everyone, it is Sunday. I haven't done my Sunday chat as such yet because I did the last week's one really late, and Darryl has D&D tomorrow, so I have to sort of give him some space while he's hosting his game, and therefore I'll probably come out and do our inventory and stuff tomorrow, so I'll do that as part of the Sunday chat because I'll discuss through some of the things that we've going to buy and have done over the past month and things like that. So what I'm going to do though is finish this one out with a few things that I'm finishing using up. So the black beans are all done, all the jars sealed, they're nicely covered in liquid, which is good, which is what you want. Sometimes I end up with some beans exposed on the top and they just go a bit yuck. They're just not pleasant. So making sure that the liquid is covering all the beans is always the best bet. So those jars are done, they're ready for the shelf and we will use them. It has again been like 37 degrees and 40% humidity. It is horrible. But anyway, so in the spirit of using up things, I have the pastry dough that I need to use as well. So I'm going to do that. I thought I might do an open top apple crumble and I might do 2 of them because we've got the other chicken pot pie we didn't end up cutting into the other night. So I might wrap that and freeze it and then have one of these apple crumbles and freeze it. And then while I'm away, Darryl can just throw them both in the oven for dinner one night. But the other thing was, I bought chorizos and I wanted to do a prawn and chorizo pasta. That has been on the cards since I got the groceries back. So we're going to do that. Now, I made fresh pasta the other day. It was amazing. I love fresh pasta. It is so worthwhile doing it. There is not enough left to make another entire meal for everyone. So I'm going to do another batch. And then I think that 2 batches will give us 3 meals kind of thing. Like one batch was only like 1.5 meals. 2 batches will give us 3 meals. So by doing this, I'll be able to I froze some of the last batch, we'll freeze some of this batch, and we'll end up with an extra meal of pasta in the freezer as well. So I'm going to mix that up now. And then I'll do a crumble topping for the apple pies. And yeah, I think that that's where we're at. It's late already. It's already 4:15. It's just been really, really hot and I'm really struggling with temperatures. So we're just going to use up what we've got that needs to be used. And tomorrow we'll do a full inventory of the fridges and freezers and everything else on my iPad like normal, and I'll share that with you, and I might try and record actually doing the inventory this week. So we'll pull the tubs out and we'll go through them and have a look as much as I can without showing something that's going to get me snarky comments. So I'm going to make the pasta exactly the same way as I did last week yesterday, whenever it was. In the Thermomix, we got 5 eggs. I actually dropped an egg, so we got 5.5 eggs, which is probably what we need because we needed an extra small one last time. And it's the fresh pasta dough. Now, I did have a viewer buy a Thermomix through me the other day, and I was talking about all the different things that you can do with the new Thermomix, and realized that I don't show a lot of it very well. I might need to do a bit of a series on using the Thermomix for people, especially my customers who've bought one. I'll have to figure out how I want to do that, but I think I need to do that. So one of the things with the cookie dough is that you can go in and you can scale the recipe. So this is a portion. This is their fresh pasta dough recipe, and it works quite well. And so it has the portions. You get 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So last time I did a 10 portion, and which is 500 grams of flour worth, and that worked out to be like a meal and a half for us, which makes sense because there's 7 of us. So that's what I'm going to do again, is that 10 serving size portions, and then we just say we want the 10, that's fine, and then we go up and we go to cook. Now it's midway through because I cooked it last time, it hasn't started from the beginning, which is fine because we can go back to the start of the recipe. So yeah, you can scale, not all recipes are scalable, but a lot of them are scalable for half sizes, full sizes, double sizes, things like that. So I'm going to do exactly the same as what I did last time. 500 gram flour, 5 eggs, and 2.5 tablespoons of olive oil. I'll bring it together, I'll let it rest for 15 minutes, and then I'll roll it out. I didn't turn the camera on. I don't know what I was doing. So I've just pulled the pastry out of the pasta out of the Thermomix, brought it together. I've also pulled the pastry out to warm up a little bit so it makes it easier to use. I'm going to put this aside to rest for 20 minutes or however long. I might get these jars off my bench that are in the way, and then I'm going to make the crumble for the apple. So I think I'm going to use pecans because I've got them, because I bought them, and they've been sitting in a jar instead of in my freezer. So I want to get them used. I might buy myself a fresh bag this grocery trip. They're expensive, but I really like them in a lot of things. So I'm going to find a Ziploc bag that's been cleaned and put this in for resting, and I'll bring you back. All right, I'm going to use the Thermomix to mix up the crumble just so it's all combined. Now, we have just had someone turn up to drop some wood off, so the dogs. Anyway, I'm going to do a double batch of crumble because I'm going to do 2 pies worth. I've got 2 jars of stewed apples off the shelf. I don't thicken my pie apples. I'll have a look at them. I might add some flour when I put them in, we'll see. So we want, say, like 200 grams of brown sugar. I'm going to use coconut sugar because that's what I've got. All right, I'm going to add some cinnamon, about 10 grams of cinnamon. I'm going to add about 195, 200 grams of flour. And then we want about the same in nuts. Now, I have less pecans than I thought, which is a good thing because, as I said, they've been on the shelf. So I've got some slivered almonds. I'm going to mix them in as well. So that was 75 grams. $200 grams all up. And then we want some butter. And we want around about 140, 150 grams of butter. That, and we're going to bring it together. Just like that. So we've got a significant amount of good quality crumble there. I don't know if you saw that. We'll grab our pie dishes and we'll line them with bottom pastry, fill them with the apple, and then load the crumble up on top. Should have floured this dough slightly, but it's fine. All right, so we're just going to tuck it all in, let it relax into the pie rather than stretching it so we don't get any cracking or anything like that. Take a few bits that are extra in other places, and because we're leaving this open topped, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and push it into the fluting because it'll just look pleasant. Okay, so now my apples are pretty low liquid. There is some in there though, and I probably could have mixed some flour through, but because we're cooking this open, that liquid's going to cook up anyway, so I'm not overly concerned. Coat it with a really generous coating of this. I did a double to what I normally do, but I reckon these pie dishes might be smaller than what I normally use. Maybe my numbers are for like a 9x13 or something, because I think I'm going to have some left over, but that's fine. It can go in the freezer and be used for something else. But there you go. So that's all I'm doing, and that is going to cook up. So I'm just going to repeat the process, and I will cook the next one. I might do a little bit of an egg wash for the pastry that's exposed. Maybe not, but I'm going to do a second one anyway. This is the pie from the other day. It's just been stored covered in the fridge, but it means that it's all nice and firm, so I can freeze that now and they can eat it while I'm gone. So perfect way to do it. And I should probably do more than I do of them, because this could be thrown in the freezer and pulled out and just stuck in the oven for 45 minutes to an hour and we got fresh pie. So, you know, now that I have 2 pie tins too, to thank you, I can't remember off the top of my head, but a viewer sent me a second one because I only had one and it used to be a challenge. I wonder if this will fit in here, because that would just be convenient. There is 2 gallon Ziploc bags that I used to buy for really bulky stuff, but I haven't bought them. Oh, look at that. That is even better. So knowing that I could make pies in these pie dishes, refrigerate them or freeze them till they're solid, and then get them in gallon Ziploc bags, that would be awesome. I have to remember that. All right, so this one's going in the freezer for while I'm gone. And I'll fill that pie dish back up with the extra apple pie. A little bit of crumble left, not very much. I'm going to throw this in the freezer, and do you know what I might do? I might do like apple cinnamon muffins with the muffin dry mix and make them crumble muffins. Even the raspberry white chocolate with crumble. Anyway, crumble for the muffins, I reckon. So that's going to go in the freezer. All right, now I'm going to clean up to get the pasta done. I have found cutting this 500 gram amount of dough into 6 pieces works. Each piece will go through and I'll get like a length doubled, so 2 lengths out of each section. So that has worked quite well for me for this, and then I will cut them out and put them in little spirals, and we'll have 12 little spirals of pasta. I can't remember how many little spirals I ended up cooking last time, but I wasn't being as precise either, so we will see how this works. But yeah, it feels like the breaking it into 6 is a good size to run through, get down to 1. I'm really happy with this pasta maker. I will have to link it for everyone. I'm pretty sure I got it on Amazon. But I really liked the fact that I could clean it, but the extra cutting blade was just a boon, and I'm, yeah, excited by it. I know, it's the little things, but anyway, so I'm just going to keep going and get the rest of this done. Then while they're creating a bit of a skin, drying out a little bit, it would be better if they were spread out a little bit more. The more skin they have, the better they go through the cutter, but I don't have the room at the moment. I'll need to peel prawns and stuff. Alrighty, I'm just going to peel the prawns. Now, I did get a few questions last time I was peeling prawns about removing the intestinal tract. If it's sticking out, I'll pull it out. If it's not, don't worry about it. Honestly, it's just a bit of sand. And, you know, considering I regularly make stock with their heads and stuff, and all the bits that are in there, it really doesn't worry me. Personal preference. It doesn't actually impact the dish unless you're particularly worried about the texture, so I don't bother, because you have to peel like a layer of flesh away to get to the intestinal tract, and I just feel like it's wasteful, so I don't bother doing it. So anyway, I've had these defrosting for the day in the bottom of the fridge, so they're mostly defrosted. There'll be some that are a bit frozen, but I'll manage. And I have the chorizo, so I'm going to peel all of these. I probably butterfly them, and just because they go further that way, and then I will slice up the chorizo, fry it off, and fry these off, and then I'll bring you back. Right, all the prawns are peeled. It's amazing how much you get when out of, you know. Anyway, I have been feeding all the prawn shells to the chickens lately because it's easy and that, but we've got enough freezer space at the moment, and I was sitting there when I was talking to you, I was talking about how I use the heads and stuff to make stock regularly, and thinking about how the fact that I have to do packed lunches for work for this year, and that soup will probably be big on the thing, and seafood chowder. Amazing. I love seafood chowder. A lot of white fish in it, stock made from the prawn shells, potato, so good. So I'm going to freeze these. I've got probably one more meal left of prawns in the freezer, but I am contemplating buying some more. I'll talk about that in the prep like the grocery planning. But yeah, I am contemplating some more this month. So these are peeled. All right, so now I need to probably cut the pasta first. I might slice up the chorizo, then I'll cut the pasta, and then everything will be ready to go because I want to cook the pasta before adding it to everything else. So anyway, I'm gonna get these in the freezer. I think I'll slice up the chorizo. Well, no, actually I'll cut the, I don't know. Give me a sec. The chorizo up, so I've got it. I'll put it in a bowl and put it to one side. I think I'm going to cut it in half and then nice fine slices. While this is frying off, when I get this in the pan, I'll butterfly those prawns, and it's just about getting it to go further. Prawns don't go real far for the quantity, especially once you've peeled them and stuff. So by cutting everything nice and fine, it gets spread all the way through the pasta nicely. I'm really looking forward to trying and getting some greens growing on the patio because they will be protected from all the animals until we get the actual garden enclosure, because spinach would be really nice in this too. Even some silver beet, some sort of green leaf. All right, water is on for the pasta. The pasta is all cut up. I'm just splitting the prawns in half, just straight down the middle. I'm going to use the wok, I think. Not classic for pasta, but I don't really have... The new steamer pot probably would work quite well, actually. The bottom for the new steamer pot, because it's such a big pot. All right, let's cook off the... Oh, I had a little bit of pasta stuck to the bowl. Cook off the... I need a wooden spoon. Chorizo. Get this a little bit crispy and broken up. All right, so a lot of the fat on that has ended up in the pan. I could go a little bit crispier, but it's late. I'm getting impatient. So you could get a bit more colour, a bit more texture on it if you wanted. You could really do with a different spoon for emptying things out too, mind you. But you know, we are end of a very hot day, and it's just, yeah. I really like it would be really good if in summer we could eat later and, you know, just sort of, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but I still want to go to bed early. So I still want dinner done at a decent time. But anyway. All right, so then I'm going to add the prawns in. Turn it down just a touch. Some garlic. And I might put just a little drizzle more ghee over that because the pan just looks a little dry to me. The pies are done too, though I think I could have done with a bit more butter in the crumble. But it's fine because we'll eat it with ice cream, Ninja Creamy ice cream or cream. So even if it's a little bit dry, it'll be all good. All right, so let's get these prawns a little bit pink. Get all that fond off the bottom of the pan, all that flavour. My battery is of course running low right at the end of the day. These are mostly cooked. We don't want to overcook them because they will end up tough. So I'm going to toss that chorizo back in. Alright, then I've got a jar of passata, which I'm going to throw in. Which is basically just tomato puree. I'm going to add a little bit of water with some chicken bouillon as well. Just about sort of only to sort of there. about 1/3 of the jar of water. We'll mix it up and get any excess out. And I'll just put sort of a teaspoon of bouillon in. I'd just add chicken stock if I had it, but I don't. So we'll add that little bit of water with the bouillon. Plenty of flavour in the prawns and the chorizo, and I will add a little bit of cream towards the end and some parmesan. So super simple. Now, pasta in there, being fresh, it will not take long to cook. I'm going to turn this back up so it gets a bit bubbly. And can you grab the parmesan out for me, the one that's in the black and clear bag? Not yet, we'll wait for that one. A drizzle of cream, let it probably ended up with a little bit too much liquid, but it's fine. We will put a generous amount of parmesan in. We want some of that pasta water with it, which is why I'm not draining it. But alright, so you're gonna need a serving spoon of some sort to get some of the sauce, probably.
Can you grab a spoon, one of the non-holy ones, please?
So that is the prawn chorizo homemade pasta dish, and I'll put a little bit extra parmesan on top, and yeah, I'll come back and show you the pies after dinner. Camera's only got like 2% left, so we just need to get this done quickly. I think the crumble definitely needed more butter in it, but it's still going to taste good, and the kids have ice cream to have with it, and the ice cream that they mixed up with the Ninja Creamy tonight, it was really, really liquidy, so it'll be even better to have with this. So apple crumble pastry, and they can have some ice cream on top of it, and that's what it looks like. So it definitely is a little bit wet because I didn't put any flour in that base, but very tasty. So this is the apple crumble. So that was everything for the last couple of days. I think we're going to leave this one here, and I will pull it into the computer, and then we'll start off the next few videos with the whole inventorying and setting up for the groceries and things like that. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.